Transilvania este și e un fel de cradle, un fel de loc în care marile branduri culturale din ultimii ani din România s-au născut. De obicei ne gândim la Cluj, pentru că acolo e Electric Castle, Jazz in the Park, Untold, TIFF, și la Palatul Apor, la 14:15, veți putea să-i vedeți pe cei care au inițiat aceste proiecte într-o dezbatere despre brandurile culturale din Transilvania și nu numai. Gala Transylvania Awards are loc astăzi la 19:30 în Aula Magna. Vă lăsați ghidați de semnele galbene care duc în acea direcție, ca să găsiți Aula Magna. Transilvania are multe lucruri frumoase, de la natură, mâncare, tradiții, mergând până în zilele noastre la ceea ce fac oamenii aici în Transilvania și vrem să sărbătorim ceea ce fac acești oameni prin această gală. Gala care va încorona, să spunem așa, în fiecare an evenimentul Transylvania Awards. După cum știți, pentru că mulți dintre voi sunteți aici pentru asta, astăzi avem o serie de pitch-uri pentru startup-uri sau ale startup-urilor din Transilvania și nu numai. În a doua jumătate a zilei vom asista la pitch-uri, le vom juriza și vom avea premiile pentru startup-uri în după-masa aceasta. Vreau să vă aduc aminte, ca să vă motivez să aveți o prezentare cât mai bună, care sunt premiile pentru startup-urile câștigătoare. Chiar la recomandarea mea personală, premiul cel mare este un Startup Pass la Slash, cel mai mare eveniment pentru startup-uri din Europa, probabil. Un eveniment care se întâmplă la Helsinki spre sfârșitul acestui an și este oferit de Raiffeisen Bank, partenerul principal al Transylvania Awards. Pe lângă asta mai avem puse la bătaie două sesiuni de mentorat și un loc de expunere a produsului la TechFest, oferite de Digital Transformers, consultanță și acces la resurse strategice de dezvoltare, oferite de Spheric Accelerator și Cluj Startups, o sesiune de brand building personalizat, oferită de Heraldist, organizatorul acestui eveniment, și un extended feature pe principalul site de știri despre startup-uri din România, startup.ro, cu liniuță între start și app. Mulțumesc sponsorilor și vă încurajez să fiți cât mai buni. Gândiți-vă că nu primiți doar niște mici premii, ci veți putea să vă prezentați ideile și proiectele în fața unor investitori și antreprenori care au venit special aici pentru a vă vedea. Cu care, mâine, veți avea ocazia la Frams, localul meu preferat din Alba Iulia, aici 2 stătuțe mai departe, să aveți un fel de picnic, o întâlnire 1 la 1 cu investitorii interesați de proiectele voastre. Pentru asta trebuie să fiți cât mai buni în această dupămasă. Și acum să începem cu headlinerul acestei zile, cu un om care a venit de departe pentru a ne povesti despre lucrurile despre care ne poate povesti, și o să trec în engleză pentru a-l introduce. So, we'll have our first guest on stage today. It's a man who can talk about some of the things he's doing, and he cannot talk about some of the other things he's doing. He might explain why. He's a professor at the University of Lisbon, but also a visiting professor at MIT, which is quite famous in the startup world. His name is António Câmara. He's not the first time in Alba Iulia, and he's one of the groundbreakers in research on augmented and virtual reality. He's been having, as far as I found out, some crazy ideas about how, for example, cultural heritage could be promoted and communicated here in Alba Iulia. And some of his crazy ideas have become products and have turned the YDreams company that he established into a driver in augmented reality that might transform the way we interact with computer and with reality in the future. Antonio, you have the floor.
Okay, first of all, I thank the organization for the invitation to be here again. I apologize for not speaking Romanian. I understood last time that you understand Portuguese jokes. I slipped a Portuguese joke and everyone laughed and what? Unfortunately, I can read Romanian, but not understand it. Well, right now, Lisbon in Portugal, after the huge financial crisis, suddenly became a really interesting city. And about about a year ago, I started meeting Portuguese Americans, you know, and other foreigners that went to live in Lisbon. And we realized that the internet as we know it right now sucks. It's really terrible. It's dominated by Google and Facebook. Search is pathetic. You know, we tried to see where we could buy a surfboard. We have lots of beaches around Lisbon. It's a disaster with Google. Also because Google and Facebook destroy the local media. Right now, we don't have information like on what are the pharmacies open on Sunday? That doesn't exist. So we start thinking on how to do a revolution. And I'm going to talk about that revolution. And that revolution is in the form of a new browser for the internet, what we call the Internet of Everything. It's going to be launched in October in Munich. This is actually the first public presentation about it. And basically our team includes Tony Fernandes that designed the first browser for the internet, Netscape Navigator, a long time ago. Before that he designed Lotus 123, a famous spreadsheet. And he designed several of the major Apple products. And now he spends time in Lisbon. Our team includes also the guy that was a senior digital artist for something very different, the FIFA game for Electronic Arts. And Final Fantasy VII from Squaresoft, the Canadian. Right now we have a host of Canadians also living in Lisbon. And we got lots of inspirations from one of the founders of Ethereum, you know, the crypto coin. Today it is a disaster. Everyone that has crypto coins from yesterday, Bitcoin went down 1,000 euros. So I woke up and like, oh no. But I'm back. And what is very important to notice is that all the internet developments were based on hypertext. And hypertext is sort of a literary configuration. It's not the most appropriate way to deal with the real world. Regarding the real world, the first anchor we have is the positioning systems. So we have GPS, which actually is also terrible, has about 6-meter errors. And supposedly we have indoor positioning systems, and we have a variety of systems right now. There are no standards, and they have lots of errors. So we never know where we are precisely. And moreover, in a world that is going to be dominated by augmented reality, we don't know where we are looking. So the first thing we start thinking is, how can we solve these problems? We have worked on them for 20 years. So right now we patented the augmented positioning systems, which basically is going to lead us in a completely different world, as I'm going to explain. It's based on augmented reality, but not the kind of additive augmented reality we have. Right now, augmented reality is like Snapchat. You look at someone and there are lots of special effects. We look to a product in the supermarket, and again, we have lots of special effects. Sometimes augmented reality can be useful. You know, you look to an engine and you find how you can use it, you know, like a washing machine. So augmented reality as it is right now is purely an addition to the real world. It's this digital layer that adds information to the real world. Right now with Magical Leap, Apple, Google developments, it's something more. You know, you have some sort of a canvas where we see 3D images on top of reality. But what we think, it can be much more. And that much more starts by having these augmented positioning systems, is that whereby you can see everything and know the coordinates of every point in your field of view. So we work in a number of methods to have that clear. We were very strong in indoor positioning systems. We sold a patent to Uber, but right now we improved up to a point where we have 5-centimeter error in many instances. And besides the positioning, what is important is that if you look with your smartphone and later on with the augmented reality glasses, if you look to where you are, basically you have a canvas where you can paint, sculpt, insert images from everywhere. So right now, we are working in something really fantastic, which is a semi-holographic messaging system. For instance, I'm here, I have a camera, and send it somewhere else, and people open the window and you'll see exactly what I'm seeing here. I mean, and it's not going to be a pure photo. You know, we use We are looking on volumetric cameras and so forth. And that opens up lots of exciting possibilities. You go to have dinner, you have your glasses, and now you can choose the artist that you want to listen and watch during dinner and share with your friend. So, augmented positioning systems is a bedrock for something that can be revolutionary. But that revolution has to be based on something that is not the atomic entities of the web today. The atomic entity are sites. Forget about sites. If we can tag everything. So tags are these digital layers between the real world and the data world where the web is today. So what we did was use machine learning to derive tags from almost everything, but we created an app that we are going to launch also in October that enables people to tag immediately. So those tags are not going to be pure labels. They can include computer programs. They can include machine learning. They can include sharing, buying, ordering, and so forth. So basically, what we are talking about is to launch a browser for what we call the Internet of Everything. That's going to be the bridge, the real world and the data world. We use this concept of smart tags. We use a mathematical structure, which is the hypergraphs, to do efficient search. We are going to have a unique user experience designed by the guy that designed the first browser of the Internet. Our search is going to be much more efficient than Google for the real world entities. We're also going to do some blockchain integration for the smart tags that want to be changed. And we are going to use a platform computing the interplanetary file sharing system that reduces costs and distributes the work around the world. So our most selling point is going to be this unique user experience. Everyone, we did the test with focus groups in US and in Europe. It's going to be fantastic. Everyone wants to use this. We also have a simulation model that shows that from a business standpoint, this is going to work, and it's going to help develop the local economy, because you know everything that happens around you. You are going to provide an unbelievable level of information that you don't have. The key thing is to have people that contribute to the tagging. So we worked on different tokenization systems based on video gaming to stimulate people to adopt what we are doing. We are also going to do in a collaborative way and in a sharing way. We are going to share all the revenues with the local media, local stores, local developers, and so forth around the world. And we really think that this is going to have huge social impacts. Of course, we have huge partners that I cannot tell at the moment. We are not alone. And some of them had a shock when I presented some of the next slides. First of all, we are much more in favor of the Web 3.0, where we have improved search, improved privacy issues, a universal sharing system, a distributed versus a broadcast type of the economy where we have craftsmen working locally but selling globally than in the past. I had a student, Katarina Mota, that did a great dissertation about this new type of an economy. But this slide shocked our American partners. Our inspiration comes from one of the most revolutionary persons ever, Peter Kropotkin, that started anarchism. And basically, he designed the local communities using, the idea of the craftsman, the idea of sharing, the idea of reduction, reuse, sanctuaries for the poor. That was 100 years ago, almost, or more than 100 years ago. So we really think that right now we have the tools to create some sort of the utopian society he was talking about. We also looked to the hippies in the 60s, and there is this crazy book by A.B. Hoffman called Steal This Book. This book is how to live with very little money and freely. Then the last two chapters are embarrassing because one is about pickpocketing, stealing, and the other one is how to do a cocktail Molotov. But all the other chapters are okay. So we gained a lot by reading those, because there's this great book called The Rebel Cell. Apple, when it started with a video on 1984 depicting IBM as a monster. I really think the way to fight the great American companies is that way, the rebel cell. And we are going to be the rebel. We are also working in very interesting projects related to smart cities. So we work with this Italian manufacturer, Estima from Venice. It's an electrical car with two places with removable batteries. We are also in an effort to create our own hybrid car in Portugal. And it will use most of these principles, the augmented positioning systems, both for the outdoors, indoors. We'll use sensors. It will be, a car will become a sensor in the smart city. And we are also working with municipalities to basically derive from their databases and parse all the data they have in a way that someone in the street points up to, to a building or to a lamp and has all the information in their fingertips. And vice versa. You can extract information and bridge the real to the data world. So there are, of course, unbelievable number of applications on augmented reality and on ARIA, and we are working in all of these, from tourism to retail to health, utilities, even space and entertainment. In entertainment, I'm from Benfica. Since I was 5 years old. So it's one of our laboratories. We work also in US through YDreams with the NBA. But really with Benfica, we are discussing something that will be really, really interesting. And that part that I can say is that this idea that I think can be applied to places like Alba Iulia of the semi-holographic messaging system. I'm here and I send a message somewhere. Look to this place, come here. And when you come, you are going to have all these semi-holographic experiences that you never talked about. Where we have, and the idea is to have, we are starting by art. We have all these local artists, filmed and recording a very high quality, and that will be like a market all over the world that you can play, and it's going to be like a holographic Spotify, if you will. And to finish, I really think that right now we don't live in a level playing field. Google and Facebook get 80 to 85% of the advertising revenues. That has been killing the local media. The local media are extraordinarily important to keep democracy. We have other giants that are destroying retail, and local retail is unbelievably important for a community. And the only way to do this is battling in the same battlefield, in the digital world. Let's beat them. So that's what we are trying to build. It's something that goes against the major giants. I'm in a European Union project, and in the first meeting I presented this, and immediately people say, you are not going to beat the Americans. It's impossible. I don't think they know. Thank you very much.
To ask a question to a man who's coming only once a year to Romania.
Okay, I can ask holographically, but I'll be pleased to answer physically. Yeah.
How are you financing your project?
How did I find this project?
Yes, how are you financing your project? The ARIA platform, the Internet of Everything.
Well, basically, I work in virtual reality.
You are in a part of a university, no? A research lab from a university.
Yeah, well, basically, we were a research lab at a university. We started developing virtual reality in 1992, and then at the end of the 90s, we started augmented reality. And then we started a company, YDreams. In YDreams, we developed a platform, and we almost merged with a company that now is Apple AR's team. That platform in 2010 won the Augies, which is like the non-official Oscar award for augmented reality. And so we have that basis, that platform, and realize that that platform, augmented reality alone doesn't do much, does what you know. It's an additive. Something right now everyone talks about the AR cloud, but we really thought, well, because we also come from geographic information, that we should combine both and then include what's happening in the world. And what's happening in the world right now, and that's the advantage I think anyone has from any part of the globe, is that you can get funding through crowdfunding globally. You can get through Kickstarter. I mean, you have to have some money in the beginning, but you can go to Kickstarter campaigns, and we have done that. You can go to stock market, and we have agents. We can do that. And now, of course, it's still speculative and very risky, but all the initial coin offerings open up, and they are going to be, I think they are going to be legislated and will become more secure. These will happen something that didn't exist before. Anyone from anywhere can really do something special. And the thing is that we realize that if you are more revolutionary, you attract in a much easier way funding. There are lots of people that like adventure.
Yes, hello?
Hello?
You talked about the revenues from advertising, which the local media doesn't get anymore so much.
Yeah.
And how this platform will change that?
Well, we studied how the local media that survives are successful in the world. And there are lots of models. It's a combination of models. There is a guy named Tim Griggs that first developed, he studied at the same university I studied at Virginia Tech, and first he revolutionized the student paper, the Collegiate Times. It became highly profitable. Then he was hired by the New York Times, and he did a platform. And then he went to Texas Tribune and other papers. And so he's a very interesting guy. We learned a lot from him. And local media today survive for several reasons. One of them, of course, in the US, it's different. They have patrons that give donations to make sure that you have the local democracy. Of course, you can have some local advertising. But the most important thing is e-commerce. Lots of the papers became location-based e-commerce platforms. For instance, there are cases of papers that make a lot of money selling the merchandising from the local sports teams, both professional and collegiate. In Portugal, we are looking to a different model, which includes promotions also. It's going to be the place for promotions. You go to the supermarket, and that's the place. And of course, you have to have content and rich content. And we are in this experiment trying to see what is the type of local content that people like the most. And and we are working with someone that has a lot of experience. He was in a major Portuguese paper. So we are still learning and trying, but we really think that is an essential part. And it can work in a feedback loop. We can share the revenues with them, and they, in turn, they will tell everyone about the platform. Okay, there was a question?
Thank you. So what's your argument for saying that Apple and, Facebook and Google are monsters? Some might argue that if they don't have the kind of revenue that they do, they wouldn't be able to make some technological advances. So there's a bright side to it as well as a negative.
I think they created fantastic infrastructures, both Google and Facebook. They made a lot of money, but they made a lot of money with data, and many times people didn't know they were giving that data to them, first of all. So they violated data privacy in a big time. Right now with Facebook, they have a tool that enables me to go to Alba Iulia and know exactly the money I need to spend to reach a certain number of people in the street. If I want to sell, for instance, educational experience, and I was successful in Bucharest, I use the operator lookalike, and I'm going to reach the people that most likely will buy that experience, and the conversion rate is about 1/3. It's great, you know, and it's very difficult to beat. But in a way, during the path to achieve this, you know, they use data from people that unknowingly gave that data to them, and also they destroyed everything else. They dried up, you know, they dried up, you know, most of the conventional journalism. You know, if you look to Amazon, I mean, the bookstore business went away, you know, and many others will follow. And of course you can say, well, they were smarter, they operated in a business way, and so forth. So that's fine. What we are saying now is that we are creating a tool in their own terms, in their turf, and we'll try to beat them. You know, with much better values, without violating the privacy of the people, you know, or keeping the local stores. I mean, for instance, our pilot case is a place called Algés, where 20,000 people live. There are 300 local stores. It's a fantastic place to live. I live there. I mean, it would be horrible to destroy all those stores that give life to the streets where people meet. You know, Portugal survived the crisis because we had a sort of an architecture in the urban places that enabled us to mix with every type of people. I mean, we don't want to be part of a world that is totally segregated. And that world is what Facebook, Google, and Amazon are building.
If there's no other question, I have at least one.
Okay.
Because before starting off, you were telling me some things about how AR will connect, for example, with AI, how it becomes an interface.
Okay.
So I'm really curious, how do you see AR and VR? Is it a destination? Is it a path towards doing something else? Is it a tool, or is it the final?
Okay. Well, first of all, I can separate AR and VR. VR, you are immersed. You know, it's a 3D computer-generated images and sound in real time. It's very good for immersion. It's very different from AR. AR, you have reality, and you are superimposing something on reality. I think most of the AR so far has been built, as I said, as an additive tool. You have the real world, and you have the digital layer. We worked from the beginning at YDreams is something very different. You know, let's try to combine the virtual and the real world. So one of the experiences we are trying to do for a long time is to be at home and drive a virtual car against a real car in real time. And we can do that. That, I really think, it's the maximum what you can expect from AR in a few years, because that will change lots of things. It will change gaming, will change the way you work, and so forth. But I really think that most importantly, I think AR will index the world, and will be the and that indexation uses AI tools. You know, if I want to know all the data from Alba Iulia, I go to the web, and I learn, and I try and parse. Of course, I don't have access to all the data, but I can create immediately something for someone to browse while they are walking. And that is through AI. So I see AR as the interface for AI, and the VR, the experience niche that you go, not, you know, for certain applications, certainly not to get bored, to get, you know, one of the things that Apple introduced that is fantastic is the portals, you know. For instance, we are doing that in Portugal, you know, you go to Benfica, you create images in 360, and then you are at home, and you open up a door, a portal, and you get into this virtual world, you look back, you see your real world, your real room, and you get out. So this combination of virtual and reality from AR to VR, I think will bring something really new to the experience of living. But I really think that my strongest point is that we can do much better, and the much better is the indexation of the world.
Thank you. Okay. You are at least the second time here in Alba Iulia, right?
Yeah.
So What inspired you here? What ideas did it
Well,
come to you from
I
visiting?
think first of all, Alba Iulia, Cluj, and Sibiu remind me very much of what we have in northern Portugal with Porto, Braga, and Guimarães. I see Alba Iulia very close to Guimarães, and that's where my family comes from originally. You know, so there is this historical background, and then I looked to the smart city projects and the vision, and you know, and it's a really interesting vision. And in the first time, the thing that amazed me the most, not only working with the people from the municipality, but I visited the college, the high school, and the students were fantastic. So I saw, well, these guys here have the you know, and I talked with some local artists, and I see, well, they have the talent to do anything they want. And that is, you know, in Portugal, we are very depressive all the time. And we always think that only 500 years ago we were great. The only person that is not depressive in Portugal, well, not the only, but the only famous one is Cristiano Ronaldo, that since he's 12 thought he was going to be the best in the world. And what happens now is that people realize that they are suddenly waking up. You know, they have the talent to do anything. And I think here it's the same. You know, so I really think that there are lots of similarities. And it's nice to come because we joined the European Union earlier, you know, and that helped us a great deal. And we made lots of mistakes. Now we have lots of roads, you know, and stadiums that we don't need. But, you know, so I think from that experience we can share also. You know,
we have virtual roads. We're pretty good with that.
Yeah.
What
it's
would
better
you do?
virtual than physical.
What would you do with augmented reality in Transylvania? I mean,
well,
would you see it as an asset for tourism?
Well, first of all, I think that the first thing I would do, I'm very impressed by the South Korea secondary education. They have a document on the internet that it's amazing. You know, all the kids in high school learn now about autonomous cars, CRISPR, you know, all global change in a way that they are makers and inventors since they are very young. So the first thing I would do, I would give the tools to young people, you know, and of course some of the projects will be strategic, others will be open, but I would open up society to participate in the development, you know, and part of it will be augmented reality because, I mean, you have a museum with thousands and thousands of pieces. You know, I would start almost there. You know, it could augment a museum forever. You know, so I think that augmented reality could be used to bring and augment the past, but then also look to the future. You know, what would be the vehicles of the future? What would be, you know, I mean, several challenges in Portugal along that way. How is going to be our mobility? How are we going to explore space? You know, in our case, how we are going to explore the ocean? You know, how do we recover people that got in this cycle of poverty and unemployment? You know, and I think augmented reality is going to be a tool that will be so easy to use, so easy to have something impactful very quickly. I think augmented reality will play a role. And then I think in about 2 years, 2-3 years, everyone will have glasses. And with glasses, the sky will be the limit. Actually, there's an app that was released yesterday that people paint the sky, you know. So the sky is not going to be the limit anymore.
Thank you, Antonio.
Okay.
Big hand for Antonio. Aplauze pentru Antonio.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us for this event. And I've explained to the participants in the beginning, I have to explain it to you as well. We have a contest. Whomever gathers the most visit cards wins a bottle of Romanian wine, namely Liac, BAT. So I think your presentation was very impressive, very inspiring, and you have a good chance to win that because there might be a lot of people looking for you during the break, which is from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
Okay, I have 100 business cards.
Good, that's good. There's more than 100 people here, so hurry up. Thank you, Antonio.
Okay, thank you.